Just a heads up, you're not going to agree with this. The best 6 minutes in any Star Wars ever. Anakin and Padme staring at each other over Coruscant. Mandalorian season 2 ending with all the tears and the baby Yoda. Oh my god, it's so sad but so good. No, Luke, I am your father. Return of the Jedi ending when Vader turns back to the light to save his son, and he throws Emperor Palpatine down the big old chute. You could say any one of these are the best 3 minutes of any Star Wars ever, and you'd be correct. But luckily for me today, there is no wrong or right when it comes to this kind of thing. So before you roast me, think of how I'd prefer you to roast some Rodian or Dagobah stew or something like that. You see, this man here, genius. You see, this man here, genius. What happens when you put this man with this man? You get one of the most genius scenes to ever come out of the Star Wars franchise. Last week, made a video about the Clone Wars 2003. Talked about one specific scene in that video, and I just can't get it out of my head. I'm obsessed with watching this over and over again because of just how good it is. Nothing like it in any other Star Wars ever. So I'm dedicating today's video entirely to that scene. Today, I'm going to break down every microscopic second of that scene and convince you this is the greatest scene in any Star Wars ever. Right, here goes. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Bam! Opening on a farm with a windmill. A young boy runs through dry grass, sprinting. Up a mountain he goes. He reaches the top. His expression, shocked. And we get the reveal of a gigantic all-out war. Immediately, the scene is set. We know the context, we know the stakes. Young innocent boy, a farmer on a peaceful planet, frightened for his life. This boy is a symbol for all the innocent affected by war, in this case the Clone Wars, but not only within a Star Wars context. This has real-world value. He's a symbol of innocence in a world or galaxy ruled by madmen and people with money. The Separatists, the clones, the Republic, a metaphor for our world. Then whoosh, overhead, an LAAT flies by. We follow the LAAT, who's on board, a Jedi perhaps, someone we know. Bam! It explodes, completely throwing our expectations. And then we witness a montage of clones fighting droids, droids fighting clones, clones dying, droids being destroyed, chaos. Vwing, 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 a purple lightsaber. Immediately, without seeing who wields this blade, we know who it is. Mace Windu. The smoke clears, we see his face, and then we witness the superhero he really is. Man, he tears through battle droids like you've never seen. Swiftly, gracefully, fulfilling the myth or the idea that most people in the galaxy believe the Jedi to be. Remember, very few people throughout the galaxy would have actually seen a Jedi, let alone a Jedi in action. Their powers and their manipulation of the Force are more of a folktale than a reality for most. But if you had to describe a Jedi, this is exactly what it would look like. Honestly, the Jedi in this series are probably the most powerful Jedi in any Star Wars depiction. Unfazed yet concerned, Windu deals with every battle droid he encounters and then rejoins the clone troopers he commands. But then a ceasefire. The droids stop, and for the first time in over a minute, we get nothing but silence. A wide shot and a gigantic looming shadow overcomes the battlefront. Curiously, Windu looks up to reveal an enormous hovering tank. For the first time, we cut back to the boy on the mountain. We see the fear in his face. Again, the stakes are set, and we get an idea of the actual scale of the machinery. Overwhelming! So why did they choose to cut back to this boy at this point? It was to remind us of the stakes. This affects more than just the soldiers. There's a human element here. Why did the creators decide to even include the boy in this scene at all? For this exact reason. Sure, the scene doesn't need the boy, but it'd be so much less powerful without him. And then we get this kind of strange shot of the bottom of the tank, and we're like, wait, is that thing about to... Oh my god! An enormous shockwave devastates its way through the landscape, creating a giant sand wave which swallows everything in its path. Amazing. A super weapon we've never seen before in Star Wars. In terms of effectiveness, this thing is incredible. As frightening as the Death Star with a planet in its sights. The hero of the story, Windu, escapes the giant crater, and then we get one of the best shots in this entire episode. The shadow moves over the now vulnerable clone clone troopers, setting them in its line of fire. And we know their fate is sealed. We know they're doomed. And even though they're all wearing helmets, you can see the fear on their faces as they lie still in the darkness. They attempt saving themselves by firing back, but it is no use. And then the reveal of who is behind the superweapon. The Separatist droid army, of course. Slowly, gradually, bit by bit, during this entire scene, we get the reveal of more information. And that's what makes it so brilliant. We see its power and all its might. We see what it does to our hero, and then we see who's behind it. And have you noticed something? So far, not a single line of dialogue. The perfect example of show don't tell. Already, we're made to feel so much, and only now we get the first line of dialogue.
Fire at will. Roger, roger.
Bam! Another stomp. Windu gives the most concerned look he's ever given, and this time our hero is taken down. He loses his footing. Our hero has fallen. And at this point, we finally get the return of music, but it's no longer the dramatic hero's theme. It's the Separatist theme, and Windu has lost his lightsaber. The complication: no weapons, no lightsaber, completely surrounded. And originally, this was the end of chapter 12. You would have had to wait till the next day or the next week to see what happened, because when these episodes aired on Cartoon Network, they're only in 3-minute little bites, little snippets. So here, the start of chapter 13. Silence. No music. Windu about to be executed in the center of what looks like hundreds, possibly thousands of super battle droids. Bam! Windu force pushes every single one of them away, and then we get what's probably the most badass sequence in the entire show. Windu dashes off and beats up battle droids with his bare hands. Just listen to the sound of this when he's pummeling this droid's ribs. It's like a machine gun. And the animation here, man, this is really something. Supers being flung this way, that way, droid parts flying everywhere, Windu moving swiftly through each incoming threat and going full Bruce Lee. Bam! Another shockwave. Again, Windu is taken off his feet. He gets back up, deals with a few more droids, then notices the super tank off in the distance. And then we cut to the inside of the tank and are given a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on in here, just to satisfy all us nerds.
Recharge accelerators. Roger, roger.
They don't need to show us the inside of the tank, but they choose to, because that's what Star Wars is all about. The machinery, the lore, everything in this galaxy needs to have a reason for working the way it does. And we see the internal workings of this thing. We see the superweapon recharging, lifting its giant hammer up. Windu pirouettes through the air, clears a space for him to land. He sprints, spins, slides, then takes the heads off 8 supers all at once. Casually throws the wreckage to the side. And then this one is my favorite. He removes all the bolts and screws from a single battle droid and it collapses. Then he uses the parts as debris to tear through other droids. The animation is so creative. I love this.
Fire. Roger, roger.
Bam! And again, Windu is taken. For a brief second, we think there's no hope, but then a glimmer in the distance. Windu's lightsaber. The music returns, and our hero is reborn. Effortlessly, he stands and deflects every incoming blaster bolt and even the next sand wave. Windu leaps through the air, lands on the side of the super tank. Lightsaber comes through the wall. Droid presses alarm. A brief pause, and bam! Our hero destroys everything in his path. And then, one of my favorite shots I want to freeze on. Windu opens the door to the control room and briefly stands and stares at the droid in control. Look at the look on his face, man. He's so mad. He's like, yep, I come to get you. In the blink of an eye, the droid is sliced in half, and that's it. Droids fly out the window, the tank goes down from inside, explodes, and remember that boy standing on the hill, who you've probably forgotten about by this point. We cut back to his perspective as he watches the super weapon go down, and Windu gracefully jumps and lands right in front of the boy. Still from the boy's perspective, we get a glorious, towering shot of our hero, who looks down at the boy. For a brief moment, they stand there, the boy in awe. And then something so unexpected that just rounds this thing off so beautifully. The boy takes his water flask and hands it to Windu. For the first time, we see a smile. Windu drinks the water, and we think the day is saved. The boy has met his hero. But with a gust of wind, Windu is gone. The war is still on, but there is hope. And man, this thing just hit me right in the feels. Dude, That ending with the boy, the water, it's something so simple and yet is such a powerful scene. And that's what's so special about this. It's a snapshot of the Clone Wars and all affected, and the perfect example of how well this series uses the show don't tell philosophy. Only lines of dialogue in this entire scene were from the droids, and they weren't even needed to tell the story. This, for me, is the greatest 6 minutes in all of Star Wars because of how adeptly it tells the story. We get the stakes, we get the innocence, we see destruction, and we see hope. A 3-act story structure, a hero's journey with the setup, the complication, and the redemption, condensed into 6 minutes of brilliance. Okay, so surely you're convinced now. You agree with me now, right? I really recommend you go watch the original Clone Wars series if you haven't seen it. It's now available on Disney+. Only in certain countries though, I think, which sucks, but anyway. And before you watch this video, because I'm sure you do all agree with me now that this is the best 6 minutes in all of Star Wars, what was your favorite scene in all of Star Wars before you watch this? Would love to hear your thoughts. And for more Star Wars and Star Wars gaming, watch one of these videos here and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord. For lots more Star Wars gaming, come and send me your suggestions and anything else. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.